Welcome, everybody, back to another episode of Steehn versus Machine. Of course, I'm your host of the most, Truman Steehn Machine Steehn. As always, I'm joined here by my father, Scott Steehn. Scott, sorry, I was debating in my head. Again, one of those where you probably caught it, but I don't know if everybody would caught it, that I paused just a little bit there. I was debating how to introduce you. I was almost going to say lead handicapper at Winners and Winers, but technically you're now the marketing, the head of marketing at Winners and Winers, and it's, so I was like, well, and so I just went with my father. But Scott Steehn, Scott, how are you doing?
I thought you were debating between loser and big fat fucking loser. So
yeah.
I really thought that
for
was
both
be
of us, honestly.
I'm sitting in the dark. I don't even deserve light. I don't even deserve lights. That's how badly my week went.
I know, you guys, I'm doing the close angle with the webcam. You guys don't get the fancy camera. I don't get the comfort of the couch. I'm in here in the lab. I'm no comfort. I'm getting out of my comfort zone to get back on track here.
Ever wonder where all the shit from Truman's place goes and why his house is so neat? Well, I think we have our answer.
Yeah, it's the basement. Welcome in, everybody, to another episode of Steehn vs. Machine. Of course, this week we're going to recap you with what happened last week, even though we don't want to talk about it.
Why are you watching? Why are you tuning in this week? That's the real question. Why are you even here?
But most importantly, if you are tuning in, we do appreciate you for being here. We appreciate you subscribing, liking the video on YouTube, rating us, following the podcast on Spotify. We appreciate everybody for however you're here joining us. We do appreciate you. But
hashtag fade these.
Yes, and even more important, the reason we appreciate you guys being here. Not great weeks for me or Scott last week. I had Cleveland, Indianapolis under 41. That famously finished 39-38. Not even close. I had the Bills minus 7.5. They lost outright by 4. Pittsburgh Rams under 44. Woo! Woo! Big win on the week. That game went 24-17. Pittsburgh. Mike Tomlin continues to work his devil magic to will that team to be 500 or over. What?
Yeah. No, I was going to say the Bills won, but then I forgot that was the Thursday game.
Yeah.
So
no.
Yes, that was the.
Sadly, no. Yeah, sadly that was the Thursday game. We
also I looked at that. I looked at that 1-4 with great envy.
Yes, because I also had Miami, Philadelphia over 51. That was 17-31. Man, and it was like I felt like I had a shot at it. It just Miami just struggling to score. Tua looked back to being normal Tua. I also, don't worry, I also had the 49ers minus 6.5, and of course they lost outright by 5. So
yes, they did.
That was great.
Yes,
Scott,
they did.
You had the perfect week.
But
listen,
I did. You're not going to find many shows that went 9-1.
The answer, if you go 5-0 or 0-5, listen, we're giving good advice. You just got to figure out what to do.
That's right.
That's what I'm saying.
You got to figure. We're giving you every correct. We gave you 9 winners last week, just because you don't know how to fucking bet them. That's not our fault.
You had the Bucks minus 2.5. They of course lost outright 16-13.
Outright. Powerful Falcons.
Oh, this was a good upset pick. I really liked it. I even said it on the show that I liked it. You had the Lions money line plus 140.
Love that. Oh, Jesus.
The Lions lost by 32 points, 38-6.
Money in the bank.
Oh, it was a lot closer than the score indicates. They probably only lost by realistically at least 21. The Bills minus 7.5. You had that one as well. They still lost outright. You had the Rams minus 3. We already talked about Mike Tomlin's devil magic willing this Pittsburgh team to gain over 500. You see the cat coming down the stairs if you're watching on YouTube. And finally, you had the Chargers plus 5.5. And I will say, it felt like it was setting up to be a classic Chiefs-Chargers game. Like the Chiefs just never, like that whole second half, they were up 7 coming out of halftime, and they just didn't score, wouldn't score, and you're like, okay, feels like they're going to have a dumb one here. The Chargers are going to break one loose. They're going to tie this game 24-24. Chiefs go down there, kick a field goal. We have the normal Chiefs-Chargers win. But this Chiefs defense stepped up. They shut them out in the second half, and the Chiefs added a touchdown late to win 31-17. Brutal week for me and you. Yes.
That's the goose.
Yeah. But alas, we finish our look back here. I went 1-4. I won 100. I lost 440. Means I'm negative 340 for the week. I was plus 664 going to that, minus 340. I'm still plus 324 on the season, which is still okay. But man, brutal week. I'm 17 and 13 overall for the season. Scott, 0 and 5, minus 500.
I decided new strategy for me. I decided the best strategy to get out of this hole was to buy a bigger shovel.
Oh, I like it.
So it did not work. So I'm going for a goddamn backhoe this week.
Yeah. You're minus 500 for the week and brings your minus 423 going into it, minus 500. You're minus 923 at 11 and 19. But plenty of room.
I thought it'd be down. I thought I'd be down 4 digits. So I'm thrilled. It's a great week.
Hey, you're good. Hey, still in the 3 digits, and especially after you chip away a little bit this week. Scott, I guess I won. Again, this is very similar. We used this term a lot last season. This is similar to being the smartest horse. So I get to go, as I went 1 and 4 and you went 0 and 5. I technically win, even though there really are no winners here. So I'll go first here. Scott, my first.
You're Mr. Ed, and I'm Glue Bucket when it comes to the horses.
Yes, Scott, I'm picking. First game, I'm going New Orleans, Indianapolis under 43.5. Man, this feels like 2 teams that I've been betting the under on all year. And you know what? It's been going great. Besides last week, do not ask me about what happened with the Colts last week. Again, how many times can I say it? Gardner Minshew had an all-time performance, a classic Gardner Minshew, honestly, where he looks terrible for most of the season, and then he has this really random game where he looks good. So, but I got this at under 43.5 at minus 110. You can find it on all sports books. Listen, I don't like either of these offenses. I continue to not like either of these offenses. And what both of these offenses want to do is score slow. They want to run the damn ball. They want to run the ball with Jonathan Taylor or Alvin Kamara, or they want to throw 2-yard passes to Alvin Kamara, one or the other. So I feel good about this under.
Score at all.
Yes, right. Yeah, they don't like to score at all. So I like the under 43.5 here. Again, you could have the chaos of, whatever happened in that Colts-Browns game where you had a bunch of turnovers. You had Myles Garrett jumping over the line, and we were talking about this possibly making contact with a lineman, but they didn't call it. So, you can still have chaos here, but listen, these are 2 bad teams. I like the under 43.5, and that's what I'm going with here.
Reminds me of those old J.J. Watt standing vertical jumps, like up on the table when he was at Wisconsin. Do you ever see those?
Yeah.
Like 48, 50 inches, some ridiculous goddamn thing. You're like, fuck, you even do that?
Yeah, it's one of those where you see it and you're like, how did we not know that he would be one of the greatest defensive ends to play all time when he was doing stuff like that? But then you watch Jerome Simpson do the thing where he flipped over where he was on the Bengals and he flipped over the guy into the end zone, landed on his feet, standing up, and that guy never did anything ever again except for get about 4 contracts off of that one play. So, what are you gonna do?
I think he hurt his knee on that play. I'm not positive, but we'd have to look that up. I think it's possible he strained his knee. He didn't wipe it out, but
it couldn't have been great.
I don't think he landed unscathed.
Well, and speaking of more players that got a bunch of contracts off of one play, the all-time list, almost number 1 overall, Jadeveon Clowney.
Jerome Clowney. Yeah.
Jadeveon Clowney went.
I called him Jerome, but yes, Jadeveon Clowney, lighting up the dude in the backfield there.
Yeah, what is
no
he went number 1 overall essentially because of that.
1-1. 1-1. Yep.
There you go.
So okay, so with my first pick, anybody? Oh my God!
What,
is California going for 2? Yeah. They just.
Oh, California just tied it up. Sorry,
we're recording on Saturday. It's 50-49 now.
Oh my gosh! Oh, they did go. So they went for 2 and missed it, huh? Oh my gosh!
Is that the deal? That's why I looked up. Oh Jesus. Okay, so my first pick. Everybody's out there like, I'm just going to fade this fucker. Well, I'm going to make it a challenge for you. You're going to have to do it with faith. Because I'm going to take the Texans -3 at Carolina. This is a Carolina.
I will tell you, this line has moved to 3.5.
Okay. I don't give a shit.
All right. Well,
I'm
taking it also, by the way.
A lot of games I care. This ain't one of them. Just no with this Panthers team. 0-6 on the season, 5-1 against the number. So you look at a terrible team like that and you go, oh, they've been, that's right, overvalued in the betting market so far this season. In fact, they've been overvalued more than any other team in the NFL. The defense is last in the league in points allowed, which is quite an accomplishment since Denver gave up 70 in one game. They're actually tied with the Broncos if you want to be nitpicky about it. I don't. I'm going to call them last because that's where they are. They are a stellar 23rd in points scored, so a juggernaut compared to their terrible defense. This is a Houston team. We've talked about them before. They like to run the football. They're not necessarily that good at it, but they like to run the football. They've run for 120 or more yards 2 of their last 3. I can't get anywhere near this Panthers team right now. Give me the Texans, even though they're on the road, -3 in the hook.
Absolutely. I'm here to support you. I also have the Texans -3.5. That's my second pick. Listen, the Carolina Panthers, my system has them as the worst ranked team in the league. They also have it as the 3rd worst offense and the worst defense. There's just not many positives about this team. And this Houston team has been a bit of a surprise. While I don't have them ranked in my top 10, I have them ranked in the top half of the league. This has been a solid team with CJ Stroud. And I think they're going to continue to beat bad teams, and that's been good for them. And I think they're going to continue this trend. They're 3-4 going in this week, or I think 4-3 even. But they are 3-3. They had the bye week. That's where I was getting off on my math. But
they beat bad teams, and you don't get much worse than this one.
Yeah. And I think they'll take care of business here. They've beat the Saints, they beat the Steelers, they beat the Jags, they've lost to the Colts, they lost to the Ravens. 2 respectable teams. I think this Colts team that beat the Texans is probably miles, and I mean miles ahead of this Carolina Panthers team. I think everybody in the league's miles ahead. I don't know what's going wrong with this, but there is a lot going wrong. And not only that, but I don't believe they have their first round pick next year, right? I think they lost DJ Moore and 2 first round picks to get that first pick to get Bryce Young.
I didn't like it at the time. I don't like it any better now.
And it's a mess of a team. You even had Frank Reich basically up on the stand saying that he wanted CJ Stroud, and the owner made him take Bryce Young. So not great overall. But yeah, Texans -3.5 I think is exactly where I'm at also. Those are even odds. You can find it over at Caesars Sportsbooks, by the way.
Head on over now. Tell them Truman sent you. Use the discount code TruePicks. Yeah. None of that is true.
You won't get anything, but use the discount code, and maybe if enough people use that code, they're like, dude, we should make a code. What's going on here?
Yeah. Knock yourself out. All right, very good. Well, Truman, I'm tired of seeing the Dolphins almost get over the total. So we're gonna go a little different way. We're gonna play the Dolphins and the Patriots under 47. Looking at the injury list here, and it's you've got some problems in the defensive backfield for your Miami Dolphins. They're getting Jalen Ramsey. They're getting Howard should be back. Ramsey could be back, although they'll probably save him for Munich. I'm not sure.
He is active,
he is. Well, he's eligible to come off the. He has his 3-week window is open.
No, I think they activated him. I thought I had heard that he was. I thought somebody had said he was activated, and they were like, "Oh, that is surprising."
We'll see. Yeah, I really thought they would head away, but he's officially questionable. So they're going to get well there in the defensive backfield a little bit, and on the other side of the ball, missing some key pieces. Mostert is questionable. Connor Williams is still questionable there at the center position, and they're missing Terron Armstead, their left tackle. They've got to have Lamb go again. And Eichenberg is going to run without a backup and win because he's on the injured reserve. So I think this is an offense that could struggle just a little bit against this New England team. And I don't know that we need to talk about how bad this New England team is, but they are dreadful. 31st in the league in scoring. Waddle's still nursing that back injury. I forgot about that. He doesn't have a designation, but he did have to come out last week. So we'll see what happens there. And finally, Truman's going to be windy. Going to be windy down there in Miami. 15-mile-an-hour sustained winds, gusts up to 25. Quick reminder for everybody that plays totals: when the wind is 10 miles an hour or greater, under cashes at a 57% rate. So, and it just goes up exponentially as the wind speed goes up. And finally, they played this game 6 weeks ago. Truman ended up 24-17, and that was after 21 points in the fourth quarter. Hill had his worst day as a Dolphin, 5 catches for 40 yards. And it's the only time this season Miami has scored less than 24 points. I'll take the Patriots. Dolphins probably won't be very exciting, but the exciting part will be cashing that ticket at the end as you hit your under 47.
That's fair. I basically put a red flag on the Dolphins. I think my system is overvaluing what they can do, and especially in terms of the total. So I have put a red flag. Again, one of those where it's sometimes you've got to notice where something's going wrong, and I think something's going wrong with my Dolphins. I think they have blown. I think the Denver game probably skewed a lot of their statistics for me and my system. So I think that has been a little disastrous. So I've got to figure out what's going on there. But I support you.
Okay.
I like that Dolphins pick. I like that Dolphins Miami under with the New England Patriots. It's just they have continued to be overvalued on the line, and it's frustrating because I don't know why, but
I'd feel a lot better if you had the over in that game, but
yeah. All right, my third pick. What I do have in the Dolphins game though is the Dolphins minus 8.5. Especially now that Jalen Ramsey is coming back, I feel a lot better about it. DraftKings, PointsBet, Caesars has that. They also have all the best odds for that Miami under. Listen, this is I think people are, like, oh, well, the Pats are dangerous. I just think the Bills play poorly against bad teams, specifically division bad teams. You saw it with
dangerous.
the Jets.
Dangerous how? I mean, Aaron Hernandez was dangerous.
Jesus. They just beat the Bills, which people considered to be a top 5 team in the top 3 team in the AFC up until that point, probably. So, especially as they dismantled the Dolphins. So it's
NFL's weird.
This is a team that the Bills are just a team that plays down to bad teams. I don't believe Miami has been taking care of business against bad teams, has not been playing good against good teams. So that's the difference there. So I like the Dolphins here. Dolphins minus 8.5. Still feels good enough for me, and I'm liking that possibility, especially with Jalen Ramsey back there to help shut down, the dynamic offensive option of Kendrick Bourne. Really love Jalen Ramsey's ability to eliminate a guy like Kendrick Bourne off the field. So yeah, give me the Dolphins minus 8.5 there, minus 110. You can find that DraftKings, PointsBet, or Caesars.
People bitching about the offense in Pittsburgh. They watch New England go, well, I guess it fucking could be worse.
Yeah. No joke.
Blame Canada. Blame Canada. Third pick. I'm gonna go with the Jets. As they have to travel all the way across the borough to take on the Giants there in the Meadowlands. Jets 3-point road favorite. Coming off of a bye. Got a little trend for you, Truman. I stumbled across this. Road favorites out of the bye week, 103-42 straight up, 88-55-2 against the number that's 61.5%. That's a trend worth playing. I am a believer in this Jets defense. They have played 3 outstanding offenses this year, Truman. They held Philadelphia to 15, they held Buffalo to 16, and they held our beloved Chiefs to how much?
23.
Remember? 23. That is correct. So you look at that real quick. That's you got your a little less than 18 points per game, about 17.67 points per game. That's good defense right there, my friend. It really is. And now for the astounding stat of the week. If you throw out the second half in the Arizona game for the Giants, when they scored inexplicably 31 points, if you average the other 13 halves together, the Giants are averaging 8.31 points per game, not per half. per game.
I thought you were going to say per game is insane.
Of course you did. That would make sense, but no. It's fucking 8.31 points per game. I checked the math 17 different ways. It really is true. It is astounding how bad this Giants offensive team is. They've got Tyrod Taylor going, or Tyrod, whichever he prefers this week. I'm not sure. Okay, sure, I guess. I think they're a better team with him than Jones right now. But that's like saying Brock Heward was better than Brody Croyle. I don't really care.
Again, a competition of the smartest horse, as we say.
Yes. This is a Giants team that averages, like I said, 12.1 points per game as it sits. And if you throw away just the second half against Arizona, 8.3. That's just that's silly. That is some silly shit right now. The Giants have scored 0, 12, 3, 16, 9, and 14 in their other 6 games.
Wow. In fact, I know we talked about the Carolina Panthers being the worst team in my system and the worst offense. The New York Giants are the second worst team in my system and the second worst offense and the fifth worst defense. So take that however you will. Just a bad team. Bad team, and I expect them to have a little bit of a success here against. I expect the Jets to have a fair amount of success here, especially -3 at what is a home game. It's in the New Meadowlands, so it's a home game, but they're technically away. So I'm wondering if maybe that's a little. I doubt Vegas is getting that confused, but it seems odd that the Jets are somehow only -3. So I don't know. Again, it has looked better with Tyrod Taylor, but it hasn't looked that much better.
It does smell. A little trappy. I think the Giants are getting a lot of credit for their win over Washington and their close call against Buffalo a couple weeks ago.
But I will ride on your coattails here. I have for my fourth pick, I had the Jets Giants under 35.5. That is a low total, but it's
been 37 too.
Yeah, I think I've probably got it at 37 because I put a lot of my picks in at 30 at like 36.5. Or I put a lot of my picks in on Thursday is what I was meaning to say. So I was gonna check and see what I got it at on Thursday. I want to say I got it at 36.5, but I could have maybe even got it at 37. I'm not sure.
Well, and that's a good tip for nascent gamblers that are watching our show. People ask, what's the most important thing you can do if you want to win at the NFL?
I did get
make your bets. Make your bets early in the week.
Yeah.
Because the only way to really consistently beat the NFL is to beat the line move, is to get CLV, closing line value, for those that don't know, but that's the closing line value is basically you getting that at 37 or 36.5. The line goes to 35.5 or 35 by game time. You're getting 2%. You're getting a almost a 7% bump there, and that over time will help you win.
Yeah,
so
I consistently people
which way the line's going to go.
Yeah, I don't know. I consistently have people ask me about, like, oh, where do you get get your information to track what the public's doing and all this stuff? I personally don't care. I really don't care what the public's. I don't care who's betting. The sports books, people will be like, well, the sports books needed that one. They needed a big week like this. The sports books just play statistics, man, and they just all eventually kind of works out. They play the odds the way they want to, and so I don't think they look at what the public is betting and say, I think they go, oh wow, that was good to have, but I think they just have some of the best mathematicians in the world working for them.
Well, and they do, and they'll take a position. They're not afraid to take a. It used to be in the old days, you wanted money on each side. You wanted equal money on each side, and they just live off the juice. But that's not the case anymore. They're not afraid to. They're not afraid to take a position and not lay off their plays. It's a situation where, everything you see, if you go to a website and it says the public is on this or something, that's all bullshit. All right. Action Network probably has the best numbers, and what they're basing that off of is people that are putting their bets in on Action Network to track them.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody has access to the public betting money. That doesn't exist. Now, if you're down in the weeds and you listen to podcasts or you listen to radio interviews with like the head of the sports book at Circa or something, if you watch VSiN a lot, they'll talk about yeah, we got a lot of money coming in on the Jets this week. That kind of shit. You can pick up some information that way. But if you're going to a website and trying to get an idea what the public, it's all bullshit. You're getting rough guesses at best.
But hell, I wonder, what's funny is that, even what you just said there, people will not trust sports books to not screw you over or whatever, but they will trust sports book owners going on an interview and saying, "Oh, well, there's a lot of money
Well,
in this." So
they have relationships with these people, and they're not, they generally, when you get guys at that level, they're not lying. It doesn't matter to them. That's the thing,
That's true. Yeah, that's fair.
So, I think that's a solid play. I worry about the Jets getting a cheapie. It's the only reason I didn't play the under there. I don't think the Giants are going to score
red
shit.
zone, and yeah.
I think a Giants team total under 16.5, 17, whatever you can get it at. I think that's an enticing play as well.
Yeah.
If you wanted to be a little more certain on that total, but I think that's a fine play as well.
This game has 20-7 written all over it. Yeah.
Yeah, it really does. Because for all their defensive prowess, the Jets kind of what do you call suck on offense too. So
yeah.
All right, Truman, I'm fucking beat down here. I've tried this. I've tried to ride both these dogs against my hometown team. It hasn't worked. Played the Broncos, played the Chargers. Fuck it, I'm done. Give me the Chiefs -7 in Denver. It's supposed to be terrible. Well, I think it's going to just be cold, but it's fucking snowing for like 36 hours.
6 to 14 inches of snow is what I saw.
That's what Schefter tweeted. My buddy in Denver yelled at me today and said, "Hey, did you see what Schefter tweeted?" I looked it up on the Weather Channel. On the weather.com, it says it's supposed to be over by noon.
Interesting. Very interesting.
So check your updates there. It's people in the stadium are going to see a lot of fucking snow in their seats and their feet, and there's going to be tons of snow on the sidelines.
Yeah.
But for the game, it should be okay. And if you're a Chiefs fan, if you remember, 3 years ago when Denver came to town under a massive snow game, did you go to that game?
I did not go to that game. Luckily, no. I was at home. I think I was in Albuquerque watching that game. I've gone to some shitty games. I went to the Chiefs Titans game where it was like 0-degree wind chill at the start of the game. Not the one in the playoffs, but the one where we lost on a last-second field goal where they had missed the field goal, but Andy called a timeout to ice the kicker.
Yep, I remember that one. That was a good one. I don't know if I ever told you, Truman, back in the dark days of the Chiefs, the Dark Days Part 1,
23-3, by the way, in that game that was in the snow in Kansas City. That was 2019. That was December 15th, 2019.
My high school band played that game. That played the halftime show. And that was back in the days when they still had like marching bands and shit. And it was against the Jets, and it was the last home game of the season. There was 19,000 people in the stands. And it was about 15 degrees with a drizzle and wind. And man, you talk about your instrument going out of tune. Your hands are freezing the whole time. It was just absolutely brutal. And I know your instrument. And I had the flute when I was marching at that game. And at least with a bone, you can wear gloves. You don't have to finger keys.
That is true.
I had an open hole flute, which means you not only have to finger them, you got to hit them perfect.
Yeah.
And just brutal. Brutal. I'm sure Tina plays an open hole flute.
I will say that the trombone has an interesting phenomenon that happens when it gets cold outside. Is that the slide freezes? It locks it because
that makes sense.
So you have to spray it. We had to spray it with in college. We had to spray it with vodka, We had like half. It was like half water, half vodka, or like three quarters water, 1/4 vodka, or whatever. But we'd have to spray that on the slides to make sure it wouldn't stick. So that was kind of fun. So yeah, Chiefs -7. I like that pick. I also, not only do I like it so much that I also have the Chiefs -7. We found it at -105 over at Caesars Sportsbook. Listen, it's a good Chiefs team. It's a bad Denver team. The Chiefs had essentially 2 red zone turnovers on that Thursday night game. They won by 11, and they really probably should have won by close to 20. So,
should have been 28-0 at halftime, basically, or 21-0.
Yeah, just Andy Reid being stupid in the red zone. With the snow not being during the game, that does make me feel a little better. I have also the over in that game. I bet that early on in the week. I'm thinking about selling it and maybe trying to see what the line has moved to, especially with Schefter tweeting out stuff. I'm wondering if maybe I've got a better line now, as that line is at 45.5, and I think I got it at, I want to say, 46.5. So I'm wondering if maybe there's a little value there, but we'll see.
That's a great question. I'm just looking. I was just kind of looking at the like one of the local stations there to see what
they're saying.
They were talking about. Yeah.
Either way, Chiefs -7. Find over there at Caesars. This is a good Chiefs team. This is a bad Broncos team. This Chiefs team is rounding into better form. And the Broncos, while I don't know, they played the Chiefs game okay. They knocked off. They won their game last week, so they're looking a little better, but I don't think they're looking better enough for me to think about the Chiefs winning by less than 7 here. So, yeah, give me the Chiefs -7.
Okay. All right. I think that's legit. I think that's yeah. All right. Sorry, I was just
no, you're fine.
You're at the
pulling up the weather.
Yeah, that's exactly what I'm looking at. Yeah, it looks like the snow's going to be over at noon. That's what the local Denver station is showing that as well.
Interesting. Very interesting.
Yes. Flurries tapering off from about 6 a.m. and tapering off to noon. So it's going to be a miserable day. Don't get me wrong. It's going to be a lot of pissed off, cold, angry Denver fans. Is my prediction. Truman, for my last game, I'm going to play a little dog here. Got a little dog in him. I'm going to take the Who Day, Truman. I'm going to take the Bengals +5. I don't even mind a little money line sniff there against the Niners. This is a kind of a rest situation that I really like. Bengals coming off their bye week. Niners on a short week after playing Monday night. Going to be missing Debo. And looks like they are going to be able to get Brock Purdy back. He has cleared concussion protocol, so he's good. But most importantly, Truman, Trent Williams is still questionable. And that is a huge piece of that 49ers offense. He's I don't have any further update than that, whether they're leaning in or out. He's messing with an ankle injury, and we'll see how that plays out. So even if he plays, he won't be 100%. I think this is a Bengals team that's a good time to catch them with some value, Truman. I think this is a team that's maybe starting to put it all together. Offense is still struggling, scoring just 16.7 points per game, but they've been playing a little better football lately as they kind of went through the doldrums there, but they have managed to put up 54 points in their last 3. Okay, man, not ideal. All right, they only scored 17 against Seattle. I thought they were in the 20s there, but I don't know. We'll see. We're going to find out a lot about what this Cincinnati team is made of, because I think this is a San Francisco team that's beatable right now. I think they're down a little bit, missing 2 huge pieces there, at least 1 huge piece on offense, maybe 2. We'll see. I think this is a huge game for Cincinnati. Both in their division race and for the overall, number 1 seed, because you have Cincinnati, Buffalo, Kansas City. Those teams are always looking at the 1 seed. That's their whole season is about the 1 seed. You know, the division title is kind of a given, although it's not exactly working out for 2 of those 3 teams this season as far as that goes.
No, it's not.
But you're always looking at that 1 seed, and as a Chiefs fan, you've always got your eye on what the Bills are doing. You always got your eye on what the Bengals are doing, and you're rooting the fuck against both of them.
Yeah.
So we'll see. And this could be a final possession game. I could thread the needle here. We could get the Bengals loss and they still cover. That's a very distinct possibility. 21-17, something like that. Could certainly happen. Still a very fine San Francisco defensive unit. So we're gonna play the Bengals there and take a little spin. I like desperate teams, Truman. San Francisco has no pressure in their division at all. They're like the Chiefs. Right. The West, both of those divisions in the NFC and the AFC, they're basically over at this point, while Cincinnati's still fighting an uphill battle to win their division. So I tend to bet on teams where one of them is a lot more desperate, and one of them is a lot more desperate in this one, and that is the Cincinnati Football Bengals.
Since he last in their division.
As they're staring up at all 3 teams in their division, everybody's 4-2 or 5-2. So
fair enough.
Yeah, they've got to just keep pace.
All right. Well,
that's it. That's all I got.
There's all 5 picks. My 5 picks, I have the New Orleans, Indianapolis under 43.5, the Texans -3.5, the Dolphins -8.5, the Jets and the Giants under 35.5, and the Chiefs -7. Scott?
I'm going to roll with the Texans -3.5 against the dreadful Panthers. We're going to play that Patriots-Dolphins game in a snooze fest under 47. Jets, way too good for the Giants. Giants can't do diddly squat against that Jets offense. We'll take them -3. Take the Chiefs -7. I'm jumping on the bandwagon. I've given it up. This is a Chiefs team that is starting to cover some numbers, so we'll see how that goes. And we'll finish it up with my dog of the week as the Bengals rise up and roar. Hooday! Keep it close against the 49ers. I'll take the Bengals +5.
Fair enough. There it is. All 5 picks.
That's it. All you get.
Looking for a bounce back week. Scott, good luck to you. Viewers, good luck to you. We appreciate everybody for being here. Subscribers, we hit 70 subscribers this week on the YouTube. Pretty big. Just
66 last week, and we picked up 4 more.
Yeah.
Who the fuck watched that show and said, "Oh, I gotta bookmark this"? Oh, there's somebody that's figured out how to fade us right there.
Yeah, right, exactly.
Oh, these guys are 9-1 last week. I gotta watch that show.
I don't know if you can see this graph on the YouTube. This is my analytics, but that highlighted month is October. We gained 13 subscribers this month. That is basically 25% growth this month. So, guys, we really appreciate everybody for being here, for everybody for hanging out, liking, subscribing. Anybody who's following on Spotify, liking and rating that. We appreciate everybody for being here. It's great. If you're on YouTube, you want to comment what picks you're following, what picks you have that we missed. Maybe you're going against us. Certainly not a bad idea right now after the last week. We understand. But
you're a week late. We're going 10-0 this week, fuckers.
Exactly. We're all the way back. We appreciate you for being here. Again, I've been Truman Steehn Machine. Steehn, follow me at Twitter on at Steehn Machine. You can follow Scott over there at Steamroller. Scott, you want to say maybe this is what we didn't have the mojo last week. You want to say the magic lines here?
Is that the deal? All right, you got 10 picks. Get yourself down. Put that money on the table. At the end of your Sunday, you can grab your winning tickets and head back through the window.
Guys, we really appreciate you for being here. We'll see you next week. Hopefully, celebrating 2 winning weeks. See you.
Absolutely.